till they get their hands on the new camera system in the iPhone 7. It is a huge advancement in photography for cell phones. Everything about it is entirely new. There's an optical image stabilizer in all iPhones, 7 and 7 Plus. Helps steady from shaking hands. There's a wider f1.8 aperture lens that lets 50% more light onto the sensor. There is a new 6-element lens, so you can get a sharp image edge to edge with that 1.8 aperture. And there's an all-new 12-megapixel sensor. It has large pixels, it's 60% faster, and 30% more energy efficient. Even the flash is all new. Our True Tone flash, in the same aperture, now has 4 LEDs. It puts out 50% more light, reaches 50% further, and the engineering team has come up with this really cool feature, a flicker sensor. What does that do? The flicker sensor reads the flickering of artificial lighting and can compensate for it in the photos and videos you take. This is really, really big in terms of image quality. But behind it all is the brains of the camera, the image signal processor. And this enables so much of the unique quality that we get in our pictures we take with iPhone. And the ISP and the new chip in the iPhone 7 is twice the throughput of previous versions. What does this ISP do? Well, I'm going to take a quick walk through some of the things the ISP does every time we take a picture. It's unbelievable. But the first thing it does is it reads the scene and uses machine learning to look for objects and people and bodies within it. Then it automatically sets exposure, sets focus using our focus pixels, sets the color with white balance. In fact, for the first time, captures wide color, cinema standard wide color. It balances it off with tone mapping. It does noise reduction. And even if it needs to, it can take multiple photos and fuse them together into one to give you the perfect image. This happens every time we take a picture. In fact, the ISP is so smart, it is performing 100 billion operations every time we take a picture. And it does it in just 25 milliseconds. This truly is a supercomputer for photos. Well, what matters most is the pictures you can take with the iPhone 7. So, of course, we've given iPhone 7s to a number of great photographers and asked them to show us what's possible directly with this incredible camera. And they were so blown away. I want to use one quote of what photographers had to say about this. Christopher Anderson said, "This iPhone is going to be a part of any professional's repertoire of tools. The camera didn't just handle low light, it rendered the separation of colors in a way that reminds me of film, just beautiful." That is remarkable praise from a great photographer. So I'm going to show you a few pictures that he and some other photographers took directly from iPhone 7, and these have not been retouched in any way. So here's one. This is an absolutely beautiful photograph. It's a high-speed camera. He's not floating there. That shows just how great it is and how sharp the focus. It takes incredible pictures, whether you're using black and white or color. And the colors, because we capture wide color gamut images now, are much richer, particularly in the greens and some of the reds. Unfortunately, from the slide machine up to this projection system, you don't get the full breadth of the gamut of wide colors. So what you're seeing here, as beautiful it is, isn't as beautiful as it actually is in the photo, and you can see it on your iPhone. And here's an example of low light photography. So much improved, it's really great. So customers are going to love taking pictures with iPhone 7. They're also going to love taking live photos. They're already fun, and they've gotten even better with iPhone 7. Now we apply video image stabilization. When you take a live photo, you can edit them after you shot them, like crop them or apply filters. And developers can capture and edit live photos within their applications with iOS 10. Developers are really excited that in iOS 10, you can now capture raw DNG files directly from the camera sensor and do even more complex editing. And for the first time with iPhone 7, they can also get wide color in their photos that they take as well. So this is the best camera we've ever made on any iPhone. We also have the best camera we've ever had on the front side as well. There's a new 7-megapixel Facetime Hd Camera for those selfies and those FaceTime calls we make. This is up from 5 megapixels. The sensor includes new pixel technologies that we've used on the backside, like deep trench isolation. If you remember what that is, it helps us get sharper images as the pixels get close together. It also captures wide color images. So throughout the system, we're applying wide color, and does auto image stabilization. So this shot that you see up here on the screen, that was taken from the front side camera, unedited exactly as it can take a beautiful selfie. So this is the iPhone 7 camera. New 12 megapixel camera system with optical image stabilization, wider f1.8 aperture, 6 elements in the lens, that sensor's 60% faster, now a quad LED true tone flash, our incredibly fast ISP, and wide color capture. It is the best camera ever in an iPhone. So, if you can't tell, I love cameras. I love them. And this has got me so excited because if that is the best camera we've ever made in an iPhone, what is left for iPhone 7? And this is what we're doing on iPhone 7 Plus. It's plus a second camera. There's now 2 12 megapixel cameras built in the iPhone 7 Plus. One has the wide angle 28 millimeter lens, the same as the iPhone 7. The other is a telephoto 56 millimeter lens. Well, why have 2 complete cameras with 2 lenses? Well, to explain it, let me show you a traditional point and shoot or DSLR and how the lens can work. As you know, and we have many of these cameras in our lives, you can change the focal length of your lens to zoom in. That's how we get a zoom feature. And that works great when you have a large camera with a big lens on it that you can move in and out. That isn't so great on the lens you want to put in something that goes in your pocket or your purse. So we know with 2 cameras and 2 different lenses, we can create a zoom feature built into the iPhone. It takes an incredible amount of hardware and software to do it in a way that we can all enjoy, and the team has done something remarkable. So how does it work? The same as before. You go into the camera app to take a picture. But now there's a new button right there on the screen. Let me blow it up a teeny bit. It says 1x. It's right above the shutter. And when you go to take a picture, it's using the wide-angle lens and taking a picture just as always. But now with this button, you can do one of 2 things. First, you can just tap it, and it jumps to 2x. Now you're taking a picture with a telephoto lens. You're getting the same high-quality 12 megapixel picture with a beautiful optical lens, no software needed. The second thing you can do is you can put your finger on it and drag across it, and you can zoom from 1x to 5x. And as you go beyond 2x, you're doing software zoom. But now, since it's starting with that telephoto lens, the quality of that image is 4 times better than before with software zoom. In fact, it's so much better, we decided to push it even further, all the way up to 10x. So now, so as you see here, now with iPhone 7 Plus, you can go from 1x to 10x. Optical zoom at 2x, and great software zoom after that. Here's an example of 2 photos side by side. The one on the left taken at 1x, the one on the right at 2x. Both with beautiful optical lens quality. Both are great examples of taking low-light pictures now with incredible new cameras in iPhone 7 Plus. So that's the camera in iPhone 7 Plus, joining iPhone 7 with this great new zoom feature. There's one other use of this camera that we challenged our engineering team to do as an extra credit project. It really was. It's something that is incredibly challenging and takes a lot of amazing invention. But what they've been doing is astounding. And it's something that's a big breakthrough in photography. And we want to give you a sneak peek of this feature. Now, to explain it, I'm going to bring up a picture. This is a picture that was taken with a very high-end camera. And so it will help us illustrate the feature we're trying to achieve. So let me bring up a picture. You see in this beautiful portrait, the gentleman in the front is pin sharp in focus. And that background has a beautiful blur. This is called shallow depth of field. This is a technique that's really useful for things like portraiture. And it's something that is illustrative of a great camera that has often a very big sensor, like a full-frame sensor, or a really big, fast lens. And the quality of that background blur, that's what's called bokeh. And the higher the quality of the bokeh, usually, the more advanced and higher quality the lens and camera system. And the ending result is it feels almost 3D, like the person's popping off the screen. It is a beautiful photo. So our goal is to try to do something like this using the two cameras in the iPhone 7 Plus. And what the engineering team has been doing, hardware and software working together, is truly remarkable. What they're able to do is when we take a picture, is to use the ISP to scan the scene, to use machine learning to recognize people and faces, and then create a depth map of that image from the two cameras and the software. Keep the people in the front sharp and focused and apply a beautiful blur to the background. This is a huge breakthrough in what can be done on a smartphone in photography. So how do you do it? Well, it couldn't be easier. Again, we go to the camera app, you go to take a picture, where you normally select the style of the picture, so panorama or square, there's a new style that says portrait. You select portrait, it automatically jumps to using the telephoto lens, because that 56mm lens is great for portrait lens. And automatically you see the depth effect. Now what's remarkable is that before you take a picture, as you're looking at your iPhone screen, you are seeing that blur in the background. It is being generated in real time as you're looking at your screen. Even high-end DSLRs can't do real-time deep depth preview in their screens. This is an incredible breakthrough. So now I'm going to show you the first picture we've ever shown the world of a depth of field photo taken from an iPhone 7 Plus with this new feature. Before I do, I have to come clean on something because I wasn't entirely honest before. The picture I showed you before, this was taken on an iPhone 7 Plus. It is stunning. Again, we've given some photographers early access to a 7 Plus and this software feature, and they've been blown away by how it performs. Let me just give you one quote from a photographer. Jason Aceto said, "I loved the depth of field capabilities and the ability to shoot fast without losing sharpness. This iPhone proves you don't need a 5-figure rig to get a great photographer. This camera is going to change the game." Now, we are not saying to throw out your DSLRs and that iPhone replaces all the DSLRs. What we are saying is this is the best camera we have ever made in an iPhone. This is the best camera ever made in any smartphone. For many of the customers who have it, it'll probably be the best camera they've ever owned to date. But more importantly, it allows them to create beautiful pictures with incredible creative tools. So let me show you two more examples taken from the iPhone 7 Plus with its depth of field. Here's another photo. That's absolutely beautiful. One more. It is an incredible tool. It's not for every style of picture you're going to take, but for the ones you want.